Yeah, yeah. MD, JPB. It's only right, baby.
Yeah, why you mad? I got a bag, bro. Name hot in these streets, no Tabasco. But I'm so stuck, that's a fact, yo. And if you think I'm frontin', you can run it back, yo. Go on, run it back.
You know that I run it. Everything you wanna do, I already done it. And I got your little boo telling me she love me. I got this one, that one. Damn, it's gonna be a long night. Yeah. You know. I said, damn, it's gonna be a long night. Yeah, let's go. Look. I told Shorty drop it for a real one. Go ahead and pop it, let me feel some. Do it for the boy with a bag now. Movie star money making everybody act out. I don't lie to these women, if I want them then I tell them. Don't get fly for these women, I was born with these propellers. All my haters cannot beat me, so I call them acapellas. See, I'm only getting better, you only get jealous. You know that I run it. Everything you wanna do, I already done it. And I got your little boo telling me she love me. I got this one, that one. Damn, it's gonna be a long night. You know, I got this one, that one. Damn, it's gonna be a long night. Yeah. MD, JPB. You already know, baby. Yeah. Yeah, I said, I already done it. Everything you wanna do, I already.
Hello, I believe we're live. Welcome to my first ever stream, everyone. So Bigfoot's taking a bit of a break, so we'll get him back in a few weeks. So I'll try my best while he is away, but it's not going to be too bad because I've joined by someone who's very, very experienced. So the man in his car, Highland Wolf.
The man in his car, the wolf in his car, the dog in his car, whatever you want to call me.
How are you doing, mate?
I'm doing great. You know, we're starting off here week 3 of the Penetrate Clan League here, and it will obviously be season 4 now. And I remind myself, as always, you know, you were the winners of season 3. So congrats on that once again, even though we are starting to get into the new season here. Maybe your boys can do it again. I've been a little bit nervous though, because I've only seen 2 of them in so far. I'm gonna have a quick look, and it does only look like we've got 2 of your boys in. So maybe you'll find it a little bit harder this week.
Yeah, I probably need to have a word with them. But to be fair, they've got a very long day yesterday. They played the Red Bull tournament, UK finals, and also another tournament at night. So it's the longest tournament day or just any scrim days for them so far. So it's duo. Let's see what they can do. I don't know, mate.
Like we don't need 4 people. We only need 2.
Let's hope that's enough.
I hope so. But either way, we will be getting on to the first map here. It will be Miramar, of course, as always, and it will be a central plane path here, going over from the cliff sides towards El Azahar. It's going to be great for these teams looking to drop around the El Pozo areas we see Game Over doing, and also teams to drop around the San Martin and Picado area on top of that as well, for that high ground positional advantage. But for those who want to drop down in Los Leones, maybe a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, exactly. I know there's a few of our teams tonight, at least 2 or 3 of them, who really like going to Los Leones. So really excited to see what they do. If they know the car spawns around Miramar very well, maybe they would just grab a car to go there. If not, we're excited to see what their secondary drop locations are.
Yeah, it will be super exciting to see where these teams have dropped, as we can actually see a couple of teams, Benevici and Only the Best, have dropped down into Picado and switching over to Happy End. That does look as well as El Pozo, where these team fights will be starting to begin in this first match. I'm interested to see how, of course, Pen Game Over will do, considering that they're dropping not only in a different position from Los Leones to El Pozo this time because of that playing path, but also against Animals Lions here. It will be a tricky game for them, or so I say Animal Seals. But either way, a team not to be trifled with.
Look at this San Martin area right now. 3 teams, and they are starting to fight already. Let me see, what teams are there? So we've got AMZ Lions, we also got Team 12, Xeno Royals, as well as Team 19, which will be Sphinx.
Yeah, as well, you know, the powerhouses that is AMZ Lions here starting off with this 3-1 split. You've got Mattis in the back line, perhaps needs to be a little bit more further forward. The first blood will go against Wiggles as the side of ZPX will pick that one up for now. And it does look like Invasion also going up against Incognito, but still over in this area, we have the side of, as you mentioned, Xeno Royals here now facing up as Forney could be split apart as a rush comes out. 3 members, they find Forney already, eliminates him out of the game. And now Neo retreating back here towards Atom and Tinsy. Tinsy's so far away, has to try reposition with his team. It's Atom from the far ground here as Aki and also Hugh there looking to finish off a second.
Oh my god. Haven't seen these early fights in a while now, I feel like, on Miramar. Everyone is just really respecting each other, even on Los Leones, where 3 teams drop, right? Like for the past few weeks now, they haven't really fought. They've been avoiding each other very well, but we have not seen this congestion coming from San Martin in the past. So, yeah, something new.
Yes, it is brutal right now for the side of Xeno Royals right now. Really the pain setting in by AMZ Lions as Tinsy tried to run away, but Aki chasing him down, trying to get inside the building, goes down to half his health bar, but will manage to take cover and just retreating as far back as he can. But it doesn't look like AMZ are done. Psycho, Aki, and Mattis, like the hungry wolves they are themselves, a pack of lions. They are here moving up to Tinsy. It's a long open road ahead to the next compound, and Tinsy might be caught out. But it does look like AMZ, they still think he's inside the building, and that might buy him the time that he needs.
Let's see what Team 19 is doing here. I feel like they had plenty of time, plenty of angles to third party this, but they've been pretty silent, pretty patient as well. Maybe that's the plan here, but seems like Mattis just could hear that car moving now. Could they optimize on this? Well, let's see.
It does look like Tinsy will be able to get away with the noise of that car from the side of Sphinx. Will attract a little bit of attention from AMZ Lions, but it looks like Carly being caught out, unfortunately, maybe a little bit AFK to begin with. Slow start on this first game. Will be caught out against the full squad of AMZ. Will be knocked down and will be another kill going over to the side of AMZ Lions. That will be 4 kills in total starting out here in the first 5 minutes of this first match. But as you mentioned, this zone, Tarzan, is going to be an interesting one. It does look like it's going to centralize around Montenuevo area and along this crossroad here of these pathways on these road lines. And we see potentially then we have to call for power grid and around that Picado Hill for the vision where all of these teams seem to be starting to clumber together here.
Yeah, like seems like no one really went for this Los Leones rotation, but it's good because we get to see the secondary drops of many of these teams. Mr. Green from Pen Game Over just revived. They dropped in El Pozo alongside AMC Seals here. AMC Seals used to drop to the bottom right of the map, so it seems like yeah, they're not very keen to go for that wide rotation then, but they're now stuck here with Pen Game Over. Not really a lot of movement going on, but yeah, like it's good to see many of the changes as well. Seems like Incognito has not gone for the previous drop rotations as per last season. They used to go pretty bottom left of the map, right? Like Valdemar is the area, and they've been split dropping to the west of Picado. They've lost one already, probably on during a contest of vehicle, but they are now making the first rotation. Maybe they need some more loot, but here they are pulling up to the Chumacera area.
Yeah, of course, it will be around that Chumacera area that Incognito will look to try take some control of this south end of the zone. It is fully open, and if we do see that zone go further south, it will be Incognito in control of Chumacera to defend against all of these teams moving down towards them. But as we mentioned earlier, as El Pozo kind of finishes, Mr. Green has actually abandoned Mumbles here on his own with Murdoch, because the rest of the AMZ SEALs, they're going to come around the front line and cut them off here with Mumbles and Devious on the other end. And it doesn't look good for game over in this first match. But as we mentioned, around that Picado area, these teams have been starting to get closer together, and potentially also only the best and Benevici could start a fight of their own.
Here I have my cam on Mumbles. He actually spotted AMC Seals in the arena area. And there we go. The first shot fired from Mumbles, but unfortunately missed. So now they know where he is, and but they've got two man. The other two of their team being Murdoch and Mr. Green being pretty far from them. But they could be using a sandwich tactic here. The two duos being the two pieces of the bread. Maybe it can work out fine, but oh, unfortunately, Mumbles got spotted when he tried to peek the other side, and now game over, suffering one knock.
Yes, unfortunately here, obviously Mumbles has been knocked. Devious will look to try find that revive, but Mumbles is on the rooftop. It's going to be a climb for Devious up those staircases as Medusa, Madro also now come into the building on the opposite end. Devious must be quick if he wants to make this a 2 versus 2 situation. Murdoch, Mr. Green just going to be too far away. Devious finds one knock onto Medusa, but he's so low, barely surviving. Can he find Madro as well? Triton's coming up round from the other end. Devious needs to heal as Mumbles all the while is ticking down and falling down as that health bar continues to disintegrate. Devious, the last hope to try to defend, but it's a 1 versus 3 situation. Make it a 1 versus 4, and Devious so low.
And get punished for it. He has no first aids, but he kept shooting. Oh, felt like Game Over could have had a different angle there to cover Devious, but seems like Mr. Green and Murdoch was not able to find those. They're dipping now.
Yeah,
it's a good time to retreat.
I think. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No, I think...
Continue.
No worries. I think it's a shame that obviously Mr. Green and Murdoch there did retreat so early on. And I think that Mr. Green and Murdoch, had they stayed, they could have found a really good pick on a couple of members of AMZ Seals when they started moving towards Devious. Had they been closer, they could have halted that engagement by AMZ Seals. Maybe Mumbles gets back up, and from there, maybe they can, as you mentioned, sandwich them in and separate AMZ Seals from one another.
I think it's the first time in a very long time that we had so many teams in the first phase circle. Of course, the playing path really helped them there. So this is the time when it's very important for teams to remember, okay, like playing path, where they are, and do a lot of that scouting work as they make the first big rotation. So rotations in phase 1 and 2 will be very interesting because they should rotate and drive as if there's someone watching them wherever they go.
Yeah, I definitely think that we have to keep an eye, of course, around that Pacaro Hill area will be now where we look for these teams rotating in, the likes of AMZ Lines and also the Misfits squad here coming from Graveyard towards the western side, and perhaps we'll look on phase 2 to maybe make a little bit of a tighter rotation towards the center. And what has surprised me is that not many teams are willing to go for that central area around the power grid. Only ZPX really have controlled that so far. We now see Wiggles kind of pulling up that 2 split. It does look like for their team. Make it a 2-1 actually, as Dreammate will be on his own. Star has been eliminated, so it will be a 3 versus 4 situation if Wiggles want to take this on a low ground disadvantage.
What I want to see here is for a north hard shift to happen. You know why? We've got quite a few teams in Picardo here still. We've got, so we're talking about this power grid area, Highland Wolf. We've got actually EOL taking the hill area just north of Picardo already. We've got ZPX trying to pull in, so they may probably come into the east side and contest that same hill area. The two teams, VVV and OTB, will have to head north if that is the circle for the next zone. It's still in. We've got the phase 2 circle now, and but yeah, so maybe not as many action as I thought it should, because I was hoping AMZ Lions to maybe contest that hill area a little bit as well to the south of San Martin.
Yeah, as predicted here, it will move over to Monte Nuevo and around the power grid area. And, of course, Wiggles and ZPX are going to look pretty comfortable with this zone rotation. But not so comfortable will be all of these teams, including Institute here along the water treatment at the end of the Tarzan area, as they need to make it inside the zone and through AMZ and through a little bit of open space here along this main road line. And I expect perhaps a couple of these teams to crash against each other. We see just that potentially happening as Zen Immortals hooking up behind the side of this duo of Pen Game Over.
This will be quite interesting to see, since if teams want to stay around the Picardo Hill area... wow! Did you see what happened there?
Yeah, Murdoch were a brilliant
oh my god.
sight onto that car, and that will be one down and one taken out. It will be a 3 versus 2 situation, but look at this. AMZ against Tora, now looking for the third party. They want the kills.
Let's bring my camera over to AMZ here. Will Team 21 suffer from a second death because of car explosions? I really don't know. They need to really hide that car well now. But seems like there's congestion on the edge. I thought there would be more around the Picardo Hill area, but seems like EOL just wants to up into a more central position now.
Yeah, you see that position from Game Over here. They control that high ground. You see how difficult it is for the side of Xeno Immortals to make it up to the top of that hill to take down Murdoch and Mr. Green. They're doing an excellent job at keeping them separated with the smokes there and also picking them apart with the help of AMZ, though. Keep in mind that quadruple member squad here on the back line, looking to take those picks and potentially on to Game Over when they peek their head around this rock side. And Mr. Green, maybe he doesn't notice AMZ, maybe he gets picked apart.
Seems like EOL is also in the fight with ZPX. When they made that west rotation, yes, ZPX really didn't move. They held that hill area with a little bit of a split, but bear in mind, especially in pro play, we hear casters talk about as the game goes on, even if you have a very good split, it might be better to gather your firepower and just start grouping up. So they've lost one member here, but it's not the end.
You see Osmescus has made a dive into the side of this mountain face, and it will be him now under a little bit of relief as he tries to climb this mountainside, looking potentially for a flank that original knock against ZPX for the rest of his team then to come in. But it will be that open ground that ZPX will keep control of on the high ground against, as you mentioned, the Lithuanian squad here.
Back to this three-way fight between Pennant Game Over, Zen, and AMZ Lions. Seems like Murdoch has perfect information of where his enemies are. Had a very good headshot with the mini on Zen there, and it seems like he may get his kill if the revive's not coming out. And yeah, we may this. Oh no, actually AMZ is moving. They decide to take a more central position, I think is a good call here, or just try to approach the fight with a different angle, and that's exactly what they're trying to do.
Yeah, I was going to say, it does look like AMZ looking to cut off the escape route of Pen Game Over as they hook up along the backside buildings. And it does look like Mattis and Q will be able to do so effectively. It does look like Osmescus has found a beautiful grenade, though, onto the side of ZPX. And it also on the other side as Mr. Green goes down to the side of AMZ Lions. And it will be Murdoch split away, won't be really able to revive his teammate here. And this does look dire for Game Over. One member remaining.
Seems like Murdoch really loves his UMP here, even bring it out in Miramar, but that didn't do too much work there, but maybe just enough to scare Matas away. Really want to see whether they have a car with them right now. Maybe that's like the saving grace. If he has one, maybe a smoke and a short drive will be what it takes to save Mr. Green and carry on with this game as a duo. Just made it. He just made the revive. He was literally 1 HP, but well played there.
On the other side, it does look like the side of Empire of Lithuania have taken control of the mountaintop and actually pushed ZPX off the edge. ZPX, Verts, and CJ will be the only ones here to survive. That beautiful grenade from Ismeskis allowing, as we mentioned, the rest of the team with that one pick to make the climb onto the mountainside and take control of the high ground advantage close to the center of this zone will be vital. But directly in the center, though, Wiggles and Incognito, as well as AMZ Seals around this position as well, looking pretty strong. AMZ Seals, particularly on Montino Wavo, as this zone will shift over to phase number 3, and it will go over back to Picardo Hill. So looking really strong now for the side of Empire of Lithuania, as they have just taken control of pretty much, I would say, the most important high ground position of the map here.
Oh my days. Here we go. We've got like who is it? Penn Misfits doing the typical clockwise white rotation, but this time just being caught there. Guys, you need to see where you drive, not just where you drive to, but how you drive. What's your route? Seems like they lost one there, but they are still going south. They keep going south until they maybe find an entry point. And OTB has taken their little prize with that one kill, and they have to get back to the center zone now. It's going to be a pretty open area. There's not a lot of, if you think about like all these locations as your drop spots, right? There's not a lot of big compounds for you to claim. There's Picardo, there's Power Grid, but the rest of these small compounds with the houses, with the warehouse, you really need to play this map enough to know how to make use of that, because we started this game with 14 teams and we still have 13.
Yeah, it means it's going to be crowded moving into this phase 3, so it's going to be difficult to find a position. Also trying to move to find a position in this zone, Tarzan, as it will be very open field here for the most part of this south end, as you mentioned. Very, very Vici controlling one side with only the best, and also Sphinx on the east. But on the west, that's where the cluster's going to be. That's where the fighting's going to be. And as we actually look, AMZ Lions are looking to do what EOL just did to ZPX. They hold up on the edge of this mountain.
I think this is exactly what we mentioned earlier. When it comes to the later phases of the game, you may want to group up. EOL found a very, very powerful hill, right? But when they are 120, 200 meters apart, it's very hard to make those like effective small rotations to get your teammate if you need to revive them. And but seems like they will be continuing this fight with AMZ sooner or later.
Yeah, but keep in mind it is only a 2-2 split right now. Frame and Zip is the only front line. And it does mean there is also going to be a split on the mountain side, and that could cost Calypso as Neskis if they start to get try to find these picks of teams going through the southern end of this zone, the open fields there. But if AMZ take down the front line of Zippers and Frame, that will really put a hard dent in the framework for the side of EOL taking this chicken dinner.
We also see OTB moving to the south edge of the circle here. I would really want to believe that they've done this because they know that is what it takes to kill the remaining players of Penn Misfits here. And yeah, they are the only team. Seems like the two Penn teams right now, so Penn Institute and Misfits are the only two teams who are still outside of this circle.
Yeah, it will be those wide rotations, but keep in mind with those wide rotations means they're going to be late to the zone, and that will unfortunately affect them when they try to move in, particularly if that zone moves back towards the northern side. They're going to be fighting through Seals, they're going to be fighting through Zen, and also Incognito here on this southern western line, particularly for this duo of Penn Institute. It's going to be really difficult, but on the other side, it does look like Misfits looking to make a move move against only the best, making their search here for a compound in the south end.
Seems like EOL's now grouped as a trio with leaving one guy to take a side angle. Maybe that driving back to this big rock here was a bait, but as we speak, there's another fight breaking out. Let me try to get to that fight for you as soon as possible. It will be VVV, still in Picardo.
It will be this long-range fight here as only the best also. So keep away, penetrate Misfits, but also Ashlaz will fall to play zone, and the side of NVIDIA Vici using that blue zone there to their advantage to take control of these final two members of the side of Sphinx and take them out of the game. Sphinx obviously have had a little bit of a tricky game here, going from the north side to the east and struggling to find a way into that final couple of zones. But along the other side, it does look like Triton and the rest of Seals looking to try find a position in this zone alongside Misfits is going to be hectic, and Waggles need to wake up because now's a chance to stop vehicle rotations.
And they do. They have found Medusa. And it would be very interesting. Maybe that's saving grace. Stop them from directly running into Pen Misfits. But Pen Misfits is in a bit of a sticky situation as well themselves. They had the rock where they were able to revive these nuts, but their vehicle was being broken down, and they have the left and right side of that huge rock being looked at by OTB.
And Cider Majo there, blowing his own car up, unfortunately, will be dire for him. Not the place you want to do it with the side of Misfits overlooking you, all three members here. And look at another rotation as EOL, they had to come off the mountainside because of that zone, and now they're looking for a spot in this open final area, and it will be them taking control of this airdrop essential in this zone here. They're looking to try take control of the dips in this hillside and use that low ground cover to their advantage against teams coming in and predicting that zone to center around that very open area.
This is going to be a very hard situation, both for Penn Institute and Incognito here. They were fighting for a bit. Siren got knocked. Griff traded a knock on Incognito. And both teams got the revive, but now they've got a very open space that they have to run through to get into Nick's circle. I am not very optimistic, although this is my team. I really want them to do well.
I hope so for them to do well for you as well, Tarzan, but I do think it's going to be almost really impossible to find a good position in this zone, considering they got teams outside and inside the zone looking to try hold up here as this zone soon to close into phase 5. Unfortunately, decided game over have been eliminated by only the best on that southern side, and that zone will centralize as EOL do predict here around this field area, and they're going to be smiling right now. Still 3 members up the Calypso. They will fall most likely. We saw Zippis retreat back in his car, unable to revive their teammate in Calypso, making it a 3-man for the side of Empire of Lithuania. You see on the other end, though, Waggles now turning her attention to the side of Institute as they hold up on the very edge against one rock.
I'm really surprised how not more smoke's been being used for that little bit of rotation by these teams on the west side. We see Zen being eliminated. They could have just dropped those smokes a lot earlier to get into safe zone, but they dropped that one on the edge of the circle they're trying to get in. But unfortunately, by the time they got in, they already only got 10 HP left. So guys, think about what you have in your bag, okay, when you die. That was one of the most important questions if you want to improve in this game.
You definitely want to use everything to your advantage here, and it will be Institute using this retreat from Waggles back a building here to get a little bit of positional gain here as Griff and Sauron separate one building to one. Really just a shack here for Sauron, a little bit less of cover, but Trilby, Tren, Nagi and Dreamer actually pushed back on his 2 versus 3, and that's surprising considering that really Penetrate Institute didn't have really any room to get back into this game.
Maybe this is time to know whether they've got the skill to take this 2v3. The interesting here is now actually a 2v2. If they win this fight, because they are so close to the next circle, they will get the resources. They will, and they did it. I'm proud.
It will be Institute there to take down all 3 members of Wiggles. Wiggles just letting up too much of a position there for Institute, and they take all of it, and they will take control of the edge, moving into this northern west side of the zone. But we do see ZPX also making their rotation in. But look at EOL, Empire of Lithuania. They have such a strong position on this northern side, and they're really looking to punish ZPX, potentially moving in towards them. CJ and First, they're going to be shredded by this Phase 5 zone.
Oh, what a complete chaos as well on this southeastern side. Incognito trying to fight VVV as they go in. Run and gun is a pretty good plan sometimes, but not when you can't time it well with the circle. Seems like they are going to lose their lives, both of them. But luckily, Guard just made it into circle. He could have died there a lot earlier. Okay, if AMC Seals have kept those angles on the edge, but they can redeem themselves since they've got a pretty close rotation to the next phase, and they still have 3 players up.
But look, as both the side of Misfits lose one, ZPX also eliminated here, and AMZ looking to gatekeep away Veni Vidi Vici and AMZ Seals, their fellow comrades here, into now this Phase 6 zone. EOL on the northern side, they are home free for now, looking to try to take control of the hillside. The dips on this high ground to their advantage, but you see a rotation maybe going to go around looking towards that eastern side, the AMZ, but Veni Vidi Vici denied that away, and now they look to try take control. Matches will fall down. Cesar looking to try find a second, dips down underneath the smoke as Aki now moves around, will find that pick, and it will be returned, and Veni Vidi Vici will fall down in 6th position, but only 2 members remaining. Make that 1 as Aki falls down. Q might just go down to grenade as AMZ Seals looking to take them down.
What a tough rotation there. They've got a rich line that they could use. I don't know how many vehicles have they got, but this type of end circle is the definition, okay? And it says very clearly why vehicles and smokes are important. The more vehicles you've got, the more smokes that you can use appropriately in this final circle here will be the key to a victory.
Down to just 2 teams here as AMZ Seals, the trio versus the other trio here of Empire of Lithuania. They still have the buggy. Frame moving around to try find a flank position with Zippers as Meskis holds himself against the hillside. 2-1 split versus a 3-man shack attempt here on the side of Seals, trying to hold up in the edge, but they need to move along this zone. It's now Phase 7, and it's Empire of Lithuania who control it. Seals, they have 50 seconds to make their move, or less, if they just get taken out right here and now.
I feel like the gods of PUBG is not on the side of AMZ Seals here. What they may have to do is that is exactly what they need. They need to take the time, take this small window here when they've got 1 knock to maybe smoke up the cars and just crash in. They can't go in 1 car, they may need 2 or even 3.
You see they're a bit late though on these smokes, and it will be Frame already revived. Madro only now starting with a buggy across the road.
That is their chance.
They find a pick onto his Meskis. That's huge here. But Madro will fall down as he attempts to come over the hillside, and it will be still 2 members. The Zip is trying desperately to try revive his Meskis, but Maverick is closing in for the kill. Then Triton also on the other end. The Molotov will go wide for Zippers. Won't find Maverick. Maverick coming round the left side. The grenade
oh my days.
Another knock up, and that will now be Zippers taking control of Maverick, and Madro now down as well. Triton has to pull off the 1 versus 2. The grenade goes wide. Will Triton find the Molotov? No, he will not. Also goes over the head of Frame. Now Zippers controlling their attention over towards Triton. Just one more member, but it will go down. It's going to be this 2 versus 1 situation as actually this Mescus is back up. Maju will be blown up by that car. It will be Triton, only the one alive. He has to try keep himself alive. The smoke shield here will fade away.
Going for the thirst.
Try to find one. Can he find another? He won't find a first. That will be 1 point, but it won't be enough. 1 point is all he'll get, and it will be Empire of Lithuania taking the chicken dinner here in game number 1
with 11 kills. Oh my god, that fight could have gone so right for AMC Seals. They have put the work in. They've done everything right. Maverick, I love this player. The way he plays, even from last week, showed that he has that PUBG IQ. He flanked up the side where he got that knock, trying to get that wide angle. But patient, mate, you just need to be patient. Maybe that's the time that you could use some more utilities, or maybe that's a window for that revive as well. But that was so close there, it could have gone either way.
That was an absolute insane finish, knock to knock to knock, and it will be, as we say, Empires of Lithuania will take control of that first game, and doing so with, of course, their very strong 9, 10, 11 kills here as well. Tarzan, it will be AMZ Seals taking out second place with 9 kills himself, and in third place AMZ Lions with 7 kills on top. But in fourth place, it will be Penetrate Misfits, I do believe. And in fifth place, Incognito. Sixth place, Veni Vidi Vici. And in seventh on the top of the leaderboard here will be ZPX.
And my own team playing as a duo, they've got 3 kills at the 8th position. Not sure whether that will be enough. We've got a good feel point deduction happening because of the absence of the other 2 players. Hopefully we're going to have a better team and like better showing for the next game. OTB here taking 9th position with 3 kills. Weggles 10th with 3. Zen, no kills, 11th. Pen Game overtaking the 1 kill at 12th position. Sphinx at 13, no kills, and the other Zen team at 14th with no kills. All right, I guess that is a wrap for our game 1. We're going to be on a short break, and we will see you all very soon. Welcome back. It's time for game 2, Erangel. Seems like Penn Institute got like a third player now. Benji is nowhere to be seen still. How are we doing, Highland Wolf?
I'm doing good. I'm doing super good right now. I'm a little bit warmed up here. It is a cold winter night here in Scotland, but we are back for game number 2, and it will be on Erangel. And if we can see a little bit more action for maybe Institute here with their 3 members, you mentioned they have got a third member on the squad here, which will allow them to do a little bit more than what they could in the first game. But albeit though, it was pretty impressive to take down Wales in their position, moving onto the edge of zone like that and pushing Wales back was no small feat.
Yeah, definitely. And I think we still have a few teams with some members missing. We've got Team 21. Both Xeno teams got trios for this game too. So yeah, looking forward to see how they do. Something to note as well, we saw a huge split drop around and a lot of contests around Mansion last week, yeah? And EOL, we know they are a very strong squad. They've proved themselves again and again, but they lost 2 members very early last week. I would love to see them do their basic work, use that I button when they are parachuting to not suffer those like early losses, so they can keep up with the good lead that they have through the league, and of course like from the earlier game on Miramar.
Yep. Split dropping into 2 squads is not the way you want to start a game, as we do see the typical Venibili Vici to Novo and also Penn game over to Sovnovka military base on the south end, and we will see Incognito take their standard Milta power area, which we often see them do. And AMZ lines once again to Yaznai. This central plane path here going to allow these safe first drops and comfort drops for these teams to be taking, apart from though this western side. So maybe those teams that love to drop around the quarry side around Gatka, they have to have a little bit of a rethink here in this second game. You mentioned Mansion was highly contested last week. It's not so much this time though. It will only be last game's victors here. EOL taking control of that eastern coastline.
It's good to see Incognito trying different things here. We know for basically all games last season, they opt in for that Gatka area, but they do it's good to try something new. They are going over to the Milta factory area, and maybe North Georgia Port being too far for AMC Seals, so they are going back to the Ferry Pier area or the Coast Compound. Here we've got the Phase 1 circle popping already. I feel like we have the same circle the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, all these weeks, Erangel loves to finish on the South Island, and I won't judge it because I love finishes that really are unsure of whether it's going to be on the mainland or on that southern island, because those 2 choke points on the bridges play so much of a role in those later zones. And I would expect and I would hope that some of these teams with this zone, the way it being in phase 1, will start to look to control these bridge lines and try to cut off teams if the zone starts to go a little bit further south. We don't want to see what we saw in week 1, where we see about 5, 6, 7 teams trying desperately to cross the ocean onto the South Island and hoping they don't get shot down.
Seems like there won't be too many early actions at the moment. The most likely fight that will come up will be actually between the 2 Penn teams. We've got Penn Misfits going to their apartments drop that they've done a few times over the last season, and seems like Penn Institute is pulling away, knowing that from a bit of scouting work when after dropping Razok, getting those early vehicles, and they are now pulling away. And a lot of teams are outside of this circle. What I want to see will be them, especially for the teams who played last week, to learn from the mistakes. If they've gone back to the VOTs, play this same circle better. So looking forward to see what they are going to do. Obviously, OTB actually very religious, going back to North Georgia area. AMZ still claiming the Yasnaya Polyana spot as per the past 20 weeks maybe. So yeah, looking forward to see how this game's gonna go.
I'm really interested to see how these northern teams will rotate. I hope that only the best and Sphinx will make a western rotation. And this is because of this playing path, Tarzan. Because that playing path started on east side, it means that we can assume there's going to be no teams around the Gatka and the Quarry, and most importantly, Ferry, Pier, and Primorsk areas. That means if this zone goes further south to the Southern Island, that these teams can take the boats along that coastline and dip towards the western coast of Sivnovka and make their way up along the cliffside. And that would be a great way to rotate and avoid the choke points of these bridges, which you can expect will be highly contested.
I'm also looking forward to see what Pen Game Over is going to do here. Military base being one of their main drop locations, with the circle basically gifted to them in the past 2 weeks. Sometimes they didn't expand, okay, the control that they could use with this given circle. So really want to see what they are going to do. And like you said, Highland Wolf is really just IGL 101, right? Or just the basic knowledge of PUBG, knowing where the first circle is, particularly phases 1 and 2, with respect to the playing path. We would know that, okay, if just based on how the game works, okay, and the playing path. With the circle, teams will be more congested on the northeast edge of the circle, with the west being the void side where a lot of action shouldn't happen so early. So if these teams want to go for a textbook wide rotation, they would do this anti-clockwise rotation into maybe the Quarry, Ferry Pier area. Of course, there's a lot of open ground to the southeast of Gatka, but there are also many strong compounds and strong hill positions here. And I'm pretty sure if we're in a tier 1, 2, or even pro game or pro tournament, those compounds will be filling up very, very quickly.
And we see along that eastern bridge you mentioned, is Joki actually going to suffer a 2 versus 1 situation? Looked like the side of Xenomortals, they looked like they could take over this bridge, as they did get to it first. But Incognito, they stick together as a team with Vesuvius on the back line for that long-range support. And they do actually cut off Joki, who got a little bit too greedy, stepped outside of his car to try find Vidma and got punished for it. He will be eliminated completely out of this game, and you now expect Cronus and Tora, because they got to that bridge first, they will be allowed, thankfully, to cross over to that southern island. But Vidma and Igard and the rest of Incognito here, they look like they are a little bit unsure of where they want to go, because you see that EOL and also the side of ZPX Fear have actually decided to, or so should I say, Zeno Royals, excuse me, have also come from the backside along this eastern bridge.
Really looking forward to see how this plays out. There's not a lot of compounds, not a lot of things to loot when they had gone past this bridge point. Seems like EOS got caught off guard maybe by Team 12 there. They are going to do a bit of a split around this compound area to get more angles around this gas station. But yeah, you really need to do your scout work well. Sometimes I see a lot of players just scope in for 2 seconds and say, okay, it's clear, or something like that. Do your homework. You may need to drive around, take a different angle to really check it out.
I'm surprised that Forney here for the side of Xeno Royals isn't taking advantage of that knock, but Xeno actually managed to take on to Zippis. They do actually allow Frame to rotate that wide flank all the way behind and revive their teammates. So that was an opportunity missed, unfortunately, by Xeno, with a potential member who could have rotated into the backside and been supported by their teammates Tom and Ashura there as well. But Ashura does look like they might go down if they're not too careful as well. On the kill feed, though, it will be both AMZ squads taking a fight here.
Both bridges, both the west and east bridge, being contested right now. I think these teams are going for these rotations because they are making the guess, okay, that the next circle will end on the military island. That's why they make these rotations, and that has led to this AMZ clan clash, and AMZ Seals already suffering 1 knock and a death.
Yeah, unfortunately, Waggles there, Dreamer also got caught out. A sandwich between the Seals and the Lions. The Zoo arrived in front of their faces and from behind their backs and took down one of their members, as it will be eaten alive in a second match. And it will be 3 members of Waggles controlling the cliffside on this lighthouse to try keep this control over this western bridge. They can potentially do it with that high ground. On the other side, though, it does look like only the best as well, trying to take control over the side of Ruins, as we see Sphinx and only the best clash around this Mount Everest.
Getting caught up there. This it's just really hard to avoid. You wouldn't expect, okay, sometimes, especially on a late rotation, to expect you to run into other teams. But do be aware of these like main roads, especially with choke points. That is where how these later rotations fail. Sometimes the teams will leave just that 1 or 2 player just on top, okay, of these cliffs or this main roads to just do as much damage as possible. And once again, we see this coastline here getting more and more congested.
Yeah, and we also see the side of Institute take up the coastline on the western side. We see Incognito also move over towards the south of the farm area directly there on the coastal line themselves, taking that beachfront house. And that will also allow room for the side of Empire of Lithuania here to take control over this eastern side and be allowed to do so. But on the western side, as we mentioned, it's still that 4-squad kind of drama here as we see which team chooses to make it across that bridge first to meet actually the side of Game Over on the other side, waiting to see which team will cross first. And we also have to keep an eye on only the best as they rotate them way down. And I hope, as I mentioned before, as we are still on phase 1, that they will take that Primorsk Ferry Pier area and they can do a lot of rotation work and a lot of work to get into this zone, depending on where it will go.
I'm just going to give you a small quiz here, right? So look at where Wiggles is over that watchtower. If you were their IGL, right? So would you take this compound? What's the pros and cons of taking this compound?
So the pros is that you have the high ground, you have the vision over this bridge, and most importantly, that means that the side of AMZ Lines can't actually cross over this road because between that high ground and that compound that AMZ do control is open ground. It also means that they can see teams potentially on the other cliffside making their rotations through the water, but it also leaves them vulnerable. As you do see on the other side, Menace looking over to try peek on one of the Waggles members, and also AMZ Lines can still, because it is so open, take control of that compound easily if they get behind the cliffside and they make that rotation up along the edge and they take Waggles down where they can't quite see them and they have to poke their head out more to take control.
Very good answer there, Highland Wolf. Definitely have your work and your experience in being an analyst really showing through there. So I'm just going to make one, okay, the main, okay, problem with taking this compound here, which is if you've got car. I don't care if you've got 4 cars, there is basically just one route, okay? When you claim a compound, okay, you need to think about the escape strategy. There's one route up and one route down, okay? They suffered a few like knocks here. There's one very good knock by Deetsnuts from over right here from these rich compounds, which they have now pulled away. But they also know there are teams on the other side. So how can they even escape here? Driving. Okay, if I were them, I'm just going to full send my car, okay, into the water, then maybe opt in for earlier swim. That will be my probably plan A. Like if this congestion keeps happening.
Yeah, you see there is a small little opening there of land, a couple little bits of compounds and walls there on the other side of the water that they could potentially, as you mentioned, drive to try get as far as they can and swim the rest of the way. And I think if they do that early enough, if they do it without being, more importantly, spotted by AMZ lines doing so, that will provide the time that they need to get across that water. And we do see a vote game over on the other side. They wouldn't be close enough to realistically take accurate shots onto Wiggles if they rotate around using those walls in the correct manner. We do see a number of teams though on the eastern side as Empire of Lithuania take control of Incognito as that zone does shift over to the South Island. Incognito, they lose one, but Dejas will fall. Vidma, Vesuvius, and Guard gonna actually maybe hold back on the beach. Just hope and pray that that zone stays on his side.
The heads-up rotation here by EOL has allowed them to just stop all these swimmers going to the other side. And that is probably why Incognito has lost one player already. They were on the bridge. They were closer to the bridge, but somehow EOL has rotated around them, and now they've got the upper hand. And it's also good to see Game Over here being more proactive, knowing where they drop, that they can claim this hill area to watch over this bridge a bit earlier. But bear in mind, they really need to know, okay, or have a plan when it comes to people rotating behind them. And speaking of that, Devious has his eyes on Team 21, which will be Xenomortals.
Also, AMZ SEALs making their rotation as I hope teams would along that western coastline. It will be decided of Game Over to take control of this southern island. They have to do so. They were the team alongside Benevitti Vici to do so. They have the high ground advantage on this 2-2 split, and I think they do stand a strong chance to also catch potentially AMZ SEALs making their rotation along that open shoreline towards the center of Sivnovka.
What do I say, Highland? Look at Waggles right here with his solo left swimming under the bridge. Yeah, I wonder what happened there.
Yeah, unfortunately, they got two picked off there in the lighthouse compound, which meant that it was only Trent to really survive. I think the AMZ didn't notice that Trent actually jumped into the water, considering that Mattis has been checking that lighthouse area, and with Trent going underneath the bridge, he won't be first across to the other side as AMZ lines control the bridge to quicker rotate in, but it does mean that Trent will go potentially unnoticed here and survive and maybe a couple more teams into this second game.
Oh my days. Incognito's just caught around this gas station for so long, and they're now just getting heavily punished. And there we go. Incognito wiped at 12th position. Very good work by ZPX there. They spot the time. It's a bit of a late rotation, but I guess Incognito just have to be a bit more heads up,
Yeah.
Be decisive.
Yeah, I agree. I think they gave up their position against EOL too quickly, and ZPX came for Mills of Power and controlled the bridge side. There was nowhere for him to go. But EOL, they're looking potentially for this split team of Misfits here. 2-2 split with Keith and Deason still inside the zone.
They're crashing. Oh my days. They full send it. Where is the rest of Penn Misfits? They're now choked, re-knocked. So it's now 1v4. And they've got both knocks. Where is the rest of their team?
They're in the blue zone. They're having a party, only now getting back in.
They are coming in, though.
Yeah, I think it was miscommunication there. They left one member out of the vehicle and inside the blue zone to rotate, but as a result, they've been punished by two members. Menish and Fish will go down. There's no saving this other side of your squad. It's going to be D's Nuts and Keith now in a tricky position as Zip is also rotating that flank side round.
If I were Penn Misfits there, it's fine. Okay, I think EOL has done their homework. They have used the split around this east side of the bridge to overlook different compounds, also looking across the water. But Misfits, if you see both of your teammates not there, you might need to just suppress that fire, not to show where you are, and allow yourself to live as a duo. You can still grab some placement points there, but now you have just shown where you are, and EOL, with their experience, with their skill, have no problem pushing you 4v2.
Yeah, it will be these nuts. There's nowhere to run. There's nowhere to hide. And it will be Misfits taken down in 11th position. They keep all 4 members alive, but they're not done yet. Potentially ZPX, they use that kill feed to move in and be aggressive. But I think because they've not been super aggressive going into third party this fight, now only doing so, they might have missed an opportunity to try catch a split EOL. As Snipes walking into the full squad here, desperately with his smoking vehicle trying to survive, knows he's done wrong, and will be split away, will be taken down, and that will be 3 members of ZPX rotating into the southern end. That circle row, in the meanwhile, has rotated hard west, and it will be ANZ lines on the bridge line. It will be game over a little bit further on the hillside, controlling, most importantly, the most important areas of this zone, the high ground areas.
I'm surprised there's not like more teams around the coastline. Maybe they didn't go for a swim. Penn Institute are still on the other side. So I don't know, when it comes to this like later zone, they may have to start swimming now, if that is the guess, to have the circle on the other side. I am a little bit puzzled here. Maybe they're a trio, so they're playing like more reserved. And but yeah, it's like, so Penn game overs still over the same ridge. I don't think is a problem to hold. That is a strong position to hold. And yeah, just need to see what's going to happen here. 9 teams, I'd say it's a pretty big circle for a lot of outplay potential to still be demonstrated at this phase of the game.
I think EOL here, once again, can be the upsetters of this kind of now settled zone here, with teams finding their own position inside of it. I think moving in, they're going to start these fights between only the best against also the side of ZPX Fear. They're going to be the ones to try get these more kills, and I think with the way they've been playing so far, they can easily do so. I think Asmescus has been an absolute master addition to this team, really pulling them together and making them such a strong squad, but each of them individually doing so much work. You can see Asmescus now pulling up against only the best, as we expected to start a fight here in this phase 3 zone.
What a bold rotation there by EOL. I can't imagine that not being punished. They're just teasing other teams to not have the ability to spray them down. That is a very, very bold one, but they definitely got away with it. But I've said too soon, they've now got punished as they ran into OTB.
Yeah, they do have 4 members of OTB together. It will be a 2-2 split because of that knock-up onto Asmescus for EOL. Looks like Calypso's going to rejoin their team on, making it a 3-1 split. Zippis once again going to be the flank member for this squad. Maybe going to look a little bit further inside the zone, as the zone does shift once again to a more central position just outside of the military base along his mountain ridge lines, and that means that this 2-2 split, looking also I think for Asmescus and Frame to do the same and join up with their team, will be a smart decision to take control of teams looking to rotate along now this western coastline and this western edge of the zone.
They are gone. EOL's gone. They've gone for the rotation again. Once again, very, very bold. But they've got themselves a pretty good position here. They know this ridge line well. I feel like they've studied the map enough. They know the strong points around this hill area just north to military base. And maybe that will not be... For not being punished there, that might be just the saving grace. What will be your guess? Okay, Highland, with this already very hilly and open circle, do you think it's going to go in the middle, or will it be a shift towards any side?
I wouldn't be surprised if this zone shifts either south or heavy north. It would be a typical PUBG thing for this zone to do. I'd be very surprised if it shifts towards the center around the edge of the mountain ridges here. But on the other side, on this northern end, we do see AMZ looking to try pressure Institute. They did make their way a 2-1 split here into the zone, and they might just be punished for this split.
Oh my days. So Institute finally crossed. I don't know how they crossed though. I didn't quite catch that. But they just like full sent 2 of the players in, and they're now suffering like a loss. Only Sauron standing next to Gotzu there. Will he be able to save him? I am not sure.
He did manage to eliminate fully one of the members of AMZ. That has pushed AMZ a little bit further back, but we do see Griff also on that flank side, looking for that 1 versus 1 against Mumbles, keeping the grenade out. We'll actually find him with that grenade, and that's going to be so key for the side of Penetrate Institute here. Going to buy him so much breathing space. As now they eliminate another as Mattis goes down with the help of EOL. And on the southern side, also ZPX struggling against AMZ Seals, as they will be eliminated now, down to just 1 member. CJ will be short-lived as a full squad of EOL arrive and show up and take him out in the second game.
Knowing the positions around this hills are so important. It could have gone either way for Penn Institute there, but the third-party pressure upon AMZ Lions really helped them there, as well as using this little bit of a dip. So when you look at the map, it looks incredibly open, right? Like, but when you're in game, like these 1 dip, 1 rock, 1 car, 1 smoke. Okay, that could be all it takes to win a whole game. Seems like they're gripped up now, using another high point, and just in the blink of an eye, 8 teams left, but a lot of them are suffering some loss. It's not too bad, like 24 players alive, 8 teams, my apologies. So it's actually going to be more populated than I thought, which is what we like to see as audience and spectators. So, wow, this zone right here, which team will you be worried about, Highland Wolf, with this given circle?
Perhaps about the side of, I would say actually, the side of these southern teams, EOL, Zeno, and also AMZ Seals. These teams are going to struggle potentially to make it into later zones if it does decide to further shift north, because of the strength that actually Benevidivici and only the best will have after their fight, I assume, which will shortly be coming out. Also versus Penetrate Institute and the side of AMZ Lions, who control this edge of the western side. And AMZ Lions, they can maybe put a little bit of an upset. They have the high ground advantage. They can maybe poke onto Griff if he goes a little bit too far over that ridge line. But as you mentioned earlier, Institute know this rotation, they know this area well, and they're just putting the pain into now EOL as they lose Zippis, they lose Calypso, Griff with a double knock-up, and that will be a double finish as that car looks to be blowing up and eliminate 2 members of EOL out this game.
That is a good optimization. Just take all you can when you have a zone like that. But they've lost 1. I don't think we had to lose Griff there, lose Gotzu there, but seems like they are just being third-partied. Like, not being able to catch the other 2 of EOL there has caused a massive issue. But look at AMC Seal there. They've seen the clock tick and talk. They saw the time is counting down. Why are they still in the blue? Have they not got vehicles?
They wanted to go for that first on to the side of game over, but as a result, they misjudged the damage of the zones. If shifts further north, they're going to be unfortunately eliminated by the blue zone. Or Devious could potentially pick up 3 kills here, but it will be EOL to take up 1 of those 3, as it will be the side of Zeno to fall, and MZ Medusa, now only Maverick, also to be finished off, and they will also die to play zone as expected. 4 teams remaining here. AMZ Lions will control the top of the ridgeline, as actually EOL turned that fight onto Institute with Frames knock up onto Griff. They were able to find a final member and finish off that trio. They won't advance into now this phase 6 zone. On the other side though, only the best order meanwhile took out Benevidivici, and they have such a good position to get inside of the zone on this eastern side.
Crazy work here. 4-2-2-1. Okay, it's the number of players remaining in this game. OTB just holding that position well, cleaning all that east side up, as you said, Highland Wolf. I was a bit distracted there. I'm sorry. I was watching how Penn Institute lost that fight. They had the high ground. They had multiple ridges. I think that is the typical. It's a good time to say that's what you shouldn't do when you have a high point. The IGL needed to have one guy still at the highest spot there to watch the flank. On the other side, we can't just all look at the side where people are coming in. As soon as you leave that spot, it will be taken. And there they were punished. And there's so much gunshots going on here. And AMZ just
you see,
losing more and more. I have no words. That is just the PUBG gods doing its work.
It is the PUBG gods doing its work, and only the best doing their work as a full squad. Unfortunately, the zone did not play kindly for the side of EOL, Empire of Lithuania, or AMZ Lions here in this final couple phases. As they tried to fight each other, only the best came in and cleaned up, and they took that chicken dinner. With, on top of that, 11 kills. AMZ Lions, they take the second place, so they steal that away with 3 kills. And Empire of Lithuania, unfortunately, just couldn't quite hang on long enough, but they do pick up 15 kills in total.
That's just crazy work there by EOL. I think they could have been punished a few times, and they have, okay, especially when they were trying to do those white rotation across the middle of the zone to the west side. But seems like it's working for them. They could have gotten a lot more points if they've done the work, time the knocks, maybe just scout that a little bit more before sending the whole team with their cars up that hill towards Institute. If they can just take one knock, okay, they've got the zone behind them, but it's not too bad. It's not too bad. So, well, like split of second, like it all happens very quickly, and that is also such a huge part, okay, of a player's quality to make that decision under that pressure. And yes, we want to see more of these like good team fights when it's like more thought out, the usage of the terrains, okay, and the knowledge of the map to be put to use in winning this game.
Yeah, it was a good game, a good couple zones there for these teams to fight it out. Impressive that so many teams did manage to survive towards the end. It will be game over. In 4th place with 1 kill. 5th place will be AMZ Lions with 3 kills. Xeno will take 6th position with 0 kills. 7th will be Institute with 5 kills. 8th with Benevidi Vici, 0 kills. ZPX will be 3 kills. Wiggles picking up 10th position, 0 kills. Penn Misfits 11th with 0. 12th Incognito with 2. 13th will be Sphinx with 0. And also 0 kills will be the side of the other Zeno team. And do believe it was Zeno Mortals here in last position.
Yes, I think that's a wrap for game 2. We will take a short break and we'll be right back to Sanok very soon, where a lot of people think the blue zone will be even a bigger problem. So we'll see you all very soon. Hello, and we are back for Game 3 Sanhok. How are we doing, Highland Wolf?
I am. Hello.
Oh,
How you
last
doing?
game. Good, had a little bit of break.
Great.
Much needed water. Helped to keep me going. And yeah, tell me about Sanhok, like the map, your knowledge of the teams who are in this game. What will you expect, okay, in this last game of this week?
So for this last game, honestly, it's going to be all about these camps. Camp Alpha, Camp Bravo, and Camp Charlie. That's where we see these teams tending to drop. And particularly Camp Charlie will be interesting to see if Only the Best and Veni Vidi Vici, if they both drop over in that same location as they have done in previous weeks. Also thankful for the side, as we mentioned pre-stream here, that this side of Game Over, they're now not dropping over in the docks area and getting caught out week after week. They're dropping over the ruins area. And with this plane path, it's going to be so beneficial for that drop over in ruins for them if they decide to take it. And I think they definitely should be doing so. I think this central plane path will lend really a lot to all of these comfort picks once again that we've seen for the last two games being more centralized as well. And these teams won't have too much of a difficult start here in this final game. However, I say that it does look like we could see that Camp Charlie fight as we kind of anticipated between Only the Best and Veni Vidi Vici, both going to that location.
Incognito taking their old drop around Camp Alpha here. Penn Institute taking a new drop towards Hartin. And yeah, trying new things again. Penn Game Over, not going to docks, not going to ruins. But I should probably bring my camp to Camp Charlie right now. Same teams as last week dropping on Camp Charlie, where Endrex killed all four of VVV. And seems like VVV is already one man down. Can they come back from this? I don't know.
It's going to be difficult for Veni Vidi Vici, who did look like they dropped second, and as a result, they did lose Plateau. But they are still three members here. They still have that potential to take control of Only the Best. But you see them literally walking over the enemy team here as Cesar will be spotted out and thirsted down by Charzo, and Clownin also now going in around his side, looking to try take control of Pish and also Plato. And with Professor here, it looks like night's out for here, the side of Veni Vidi Vici. The curtains will close as now Andrex also makes their way over, but it doesn't matter. They're already eliminated. Veni Vidi Vici once again struggling over in Camp Charlie. This zone all the while has taken an interesting turn towards the western side, so we'll keep both the main island and also the western northern island here in play, and that will be good news for, as you mentioned, Institute, who changed their location up here to Hattin alongside Incognito, who will be hugging that coastline and potentially maybe find a little bit of an early skirmish against Institute here.
History has repeated itself. OTB once again taking a win over VVV. Very good work there, pushing in at the right time, not going in one by one. Endrex on his own, taking care of the overlook of VVV and leaving them no chance, leaving the rest of his teammates pinned. And we've got some contests over Painan here. So we've got Team 12, which will be, remind me, Highland Wolf, Xeno Royals, contesting Painan.
Xeno Royals?
With AMZ Seals. And but we haven't seen any knock happening yet, just as I spoke too soon.
Like Pioneer here, ANZ Seals looking to take control of one side, and they will take also one kill. As the side of Zero to lose Aswa, taking them down that 3-4 disadvantage in Painan. To control the gate to the Central Island. That means the Seals, it can be cut off if the side of the Royals play it correctly and stick together as a team. You see the 2-2 split from Seals, you see a 2-1 split over for the side of taking the man split towards the side there. 2 bridges uses.
Seems like Highland was having a small bit of connection issue here, so his mic's cutting in and out for a little bit. But no worries, I can just speak for a little bit longer for now. Seems like AMZ has not, Incognito has not gone for the usual rotation when it comes to playing this northwest island. They pull and push into Hartin and Institute, opting in to dip out, and they've got a vehicle there to help them with the early rotation. I'm not sure whether this is a decision made because they have spotted another team pulling up, but seems like they can get away in this car, and and they are gone.
Yeah, with that car, they will escape here. I have hopefully sorted the internet connection.
No worries, mate.
It always seems to kind of falter a little bit around this time, but I have put it back under control. I've fixed the evil people biting on those wires. But as we do look, actually, interesting enough, on that northern side, Hatin has been relieved of Penn Institute's control. It will be Incognito to control that compound, but there's no fight. It does look like Institute are looking to take more of a central location in this zone, and they take that coastline along the edge. But this fight has resumed here as another will fall for Xeno Royals, and now Atom down. Maverick will finish that kill off, and Tinsy, all they can do, the solo player for their team, is just escape for their life once again. Tinsy, the player, just like in game number 1 against AMZ Lions, the sole member to try escape.
Can't take a break from AMZ. They've got abundance of teams to hunt you down. Very good use of a grenade there to open that fight. Landing that grenade really took away a lot of pressure. That one knock across the river as well, really good knock there. And then they just optimized that knock. And Pioneer is now theirs. But then my question will be, and I'm very curious to see when they decide to head out of Pioneer. Are they going to stay? Or if they leave, what route are they going to take? That would take some brain work by the IGL, my dear friend Medusa here. Probably need to do some very good scouting and think where other teams like to land, and that will determine where he asks his team to watch and keep all the defensive angles covered. And also very good to see Waggles here claiming boot camp is actually free real estate for a good few weeks now. A lot of teams try to pull away from it and avoid it, but if my memory serves me correctly, there was one team who only came in the last week of the last season, and they have won the game. They've landed boot camp and they just won the game because it ended on boot camp. Seems like Penn Institute here, they got trailed by Incognito from behind, but they were able to find an angle to first knock one of the players. So let's see how this is going to roll out with a flare. That might be the reason why. Who shot that flare gun? I'm sure they're not afraid to fight. Down to have some fun as well, but if that is the flare gun by Institute, sorry, that is just no way for you to take that now.
Yeah, you do see Guard there looking to try peeking the door of Institute. They've been chasing them down compound to compound for all of these 8.5 minutes of the game. But that zone has shifted further northwest, and that means that these two islands, and to an extent that southern west island, still is in play. You mentioned how AMZ Lions should be rotating. I would love to see them take a rotation along the coastline towards the L-shaped compound. Unfortunately, they did wait a bit too long, and unfortunately as a result, it does look like Empire of Lithuania will take that spot in the center of, or should I say just off the center really, because the river's in the center of the zone here in phase number 2. Also, Wales, with that control and boot camp, they are splitting well. I like the way they're splitting to try maximize the potential vision here. You do see on that shift though, unfortunately, Xeno Royals, they will be eliminated. ZPX did find them, and they will be out of the game in 13th position.
A lot of teams are in circle now, but wow, such a big split by AMC Seals, with Maverick staying back for a good few hundred meters outside of the edge of the circle to overlook, using this big rock here to overlook the fight over Team 19 Sphinx and OTB, who's rotating to the zone from the south side. And EOL here taking a very good compound, as like maximum 30, like to say, the trifecta compound, which is a very good spot to take, because should the zone circle rotate to any side for the next phase, because this river's in play in the middle, dissecting all the grounds right now, it allows them to have an early rotation based on however the circle pops. And it seems like the Papa Blue, as the PMGC casters would like to call, has now come in play and start to do damage to these teams who are still out of the play zone.
Well, Papa Blue's coming for these players who won't rotate quick enough in this game, and they better decide where they want to go, because you see even Incognito here, they're taking their chances on that northwest island, holding up against the mountainside, predicting that rotation over towards the northwestern side. But on the southwestern island, that's where the beauty is going to be. That's where the action and the gunshots are going to be, because EOL now have to face up against finally AMZ Seals, making that rotation up to the L-shaped compound.
Very good work by Weird here, catching a member of EOL off guard, who was Sippis, who is now being revived. I was unsure as to whether that flank or that time to shoot was a good decision, because his teammates are still... Okay, speaking of which, we got punished. Where were your teammates, mate? Can you even push into this house? Okay, yeah. That is a very weird time to shoot. To shoot or not to shoot is one of the biggest mysteries in PUBG Mobile. With his teammates out in this tree and rock area with very minimal cover, we decided to open fire to expose their position.
It does look like it's 1-for-1 trade, but making a 2-for-1 here is Maverick also being knocked. But Calypso 2-2 now. Medusa though is taken out, and unfortunately AMZ Seals, they went in, as you mentioned, one by one. We'd got slapped by the Uzi, and the rest of the team couldn't even make it past the front door. Empire of Lithuania will control the L-shaped compound once again for now. Only the best may be going to look for that fight against the L-shaped compound or against Empire of Lithuania, but ZPX also on the other side may be holding up for a potential rotation and a swim across that ocean around that riverside, because that zone has centralized around the western side. In Incognito, they played their cards right because they take control of the mountainside, and they have the super high ground vision of that mountain to keep an eye on all the rest of these teams moving into the western area inside of this zone.
OTB has successfully made it into the south edge, and exactly as you said, Highland Move, this circle is heavily favoring the teams who are taking this northwest island. It's very, people just hate it. I hate it as an IGL when I used to play a bit more, because of this whole hill area. You have to maybe take a bet. Okay, it's a high risk, high reward bet that Incognito has taken, okay, to claim that hill area. Should it rotate to them, they need to heavily harvest like the fruits of this bet.
Yeah, we see actually the side of Game Over also taking a little bit of a grasp at the fruits of ZPX here. They now 2 versus 1 against, it does look like the side of
Devious here for the side of Game Over. All alone, the captain of their team, 2 versus 1, will be knocked, won't be able to pull it off unfortunately for now, but the rest of his team coming up for support. They will find Fertz as well for a 1-for-1 trade, and it will now just be Snipes to try and control the front line because the rest of his team, CJ and Kvesh, aren't anywhere in this location around this compound. And if Snipes, I expect, will go down, that's going to be 2 kills for the side of Game Over.
Very good covering angles there by Mumbles, saving Devious. After Devious got knocked. That is the typical when it comes to comms 101. When things happen, you just tell your teammates, watch me, left. Okay, and then your teammates will provide that covering angle for that much needed trade. I can't wait to see what will Papa Blue do, especially after this next circle pops, and we will know in... Oh my god!
Beautiful zone here for the final game. Phase number 4 shifts off the mountainside and into the river. It's gonna be a battle off the mountaintop for both the side of Misfits and Incognito, as it does look like Keith holding 1 versus 2. Vesuvius also holding a 1 versus 3 situation against the other members of Misfits. But Mumbles has found first. It does look like on the other end here, the side of Game Over looking to control the south end is Empire of Lithuania. They split a little bit too much. 1-1-2 split didn't go so well, and Waggles, and with the help of Game Over, take down one of them, making it only 3 members.
This is going to hurt both Pen Misfits and Incognito so much. We were just talking about this new circle appearing, and now it's already, the countdown has already started. They need to leave this hill area. The later they rotate, the more populated this circle would be, and teams can just shoot them down like cardboards, like they are in training ground, if they've done their homework, by the way, and will heavily punish them. And this is my guess, right, Highland Wolf, based on just a gut feeling, okay, of these players from Team 21 and 13 here. I think at least one of them will send a guy onto this small island.
Yeah, I think Xenomortals here, they potentially could do so. I think it makes sense to move one player along to the other end, because if they do get knocked, it's not such a end of the world deal. You still got one player that is on the other side, and it's still a fair amount of the zone still on that boot camp area that could go towards there and keep you in the game just that little bit longer. But we did see on the northern side, AMZ take out Institute, putting them in 10th position. And I'm loving actually the position that now AMZ hold after taking Institute down, because they control now the choice that both Xeno squads really have to make. Do they stay on this bootcamp side, or do they risk maybe using that middle island in the river as a way to cross that riverside and try get to the other end of this zone if it does shift over there? But if now with AMZ there, it's going to be much more difficult to do so because they have that angle. It does look like on the other side though, Empire of Lithuania, they're trying their best to pull 2 squads off at once, as Zippis with the Uzi finds another onto Professor, trying to 1 versus 4 as the other 2 try to fend off a 2 versus 4 against Game Over.
I actually didn't even catch how Penn Institute went down there. They probably are trying to get a more center position, but there's not a lot of compounds, and they've just got to watch every side on a rotation with a position like that.
By the way, he's got a double kill right now. Looking to try and finish off the rest of Only the Best. Maybe actually finds this 1 versus 4 situation. The Uzi double knock and double first here. Reloads the Uzi, 35 blows back in it. Looking maybe with the smokes to blind the vision of Only the Best. This is only Andrex and Clownin to remain. He is half health. He's trying to heal his way back up to 75%, but Clownin's going round the other end. Maybe doesn't see this rotation. Andrex also is going to to be difficult for Zippers here. Throws another smoke, relying on that vision on the doorway to try throw only the best into the other end, but he does go down. Unfortunately, won't be able to find it. The quick drop from Clowner will keep him alive. The 2 versus 1 too much, and on the other end, unfortunately, Empire Lithuania, the inside of Phase 5 Blue Zone. They're getting chunked up right now by Game Over, but they're trying their best to do what they can. Is the rest of Game Over just abandon the fight completely? Devious and Mumble's desperate to try swim their way into the zone. Only the best will also fall down to the play zone. They're not able to find a way in. That play zone order, meanwhile, has shifted hard north, and it will be Wagles making their way in rotation up to the only real compound inside of the play area.
What a crazy circle. It's good to see that Incognito made out of that mountain alive. It's also down to the fact that AMZ were busy like shooting other players and didn't keep one player watching the hillside there. And it's a very hard circle to play. You just need to have 360 view and awareness. It's good to see that Game Over, although being caught up on the trifecta compound, are able to get into this circle with 2 players alive.
Mattis smashing these little fishies in the water. Tarzan as the Xeno fishies make their way across. Kavesh still alive. CJ just trying to manage him hang on for as long as he can. But Q there looking to cut off the head of the final ZPX squad here. ZPX Fear going to be fearing the power that can come out from AMZ Lions right now.
Just
Their
watch.
war in this zone is going to be immense.
Sorry, I'm so eager to speak right now. Just look at what AMZ Lions are doing. They are expanding the control of the circle with Q just keeping his eye on the ridgeline of everything that's happening on the coast, with the other players trying to cover all the angles around all this play zone area. The hard thing is...
Mattis falls down.
The very hard thing to do is to keep a split, but have that informed by the landscape. With this open ground here, that is a very eager thing that they're trying to do. Look, so now we've got Aki here just crawling in the open. He can be thirsted any second.
Yeah, you see Kavesh going down. Also, Waggle struggling. It will actually be the side of Game Over here to try to find the 2 versus 2 situation, but it will be 1 versus 2 as Devious is not here. AMZ with Q on the front line. Mumble swimming his way to try find that assassination. No. Maybe Mumble's just falls down. There's nowhere for him to go. And AMZ Lions, as you said, expand their way to victory here and contract the chances of their enemies. And it will be AMZ here taking his 3rd chicken dinner with a total of 6, 7, 8, 9 kills in total. You see, the Game Over with 2nd position. They will take 6 kills, and in 3rd position at the end of that game, Wiggles with 3 kills.
They were blessed by the PUBG gods, I'd say, Highland Wolf. Pen Game Over, very stuck on the south west island there, but it's not too far to travel, and especially when it closes on the coastline, there are enough terrains for them to play off. And props to Mumbles and Devious, they rotated at the right time so they didn't get further punished by the blue zone. But here we go. That is our 3 games of the night. And how are you feeling after seeing all these teams play? We didn't have the biggest lobby tonight, but is that up to your expectation as a caster, Highland Wolf?
I think it was interesting with the zones. The zones didn't play so nice as much as I think the Plane Pass did. I think that's kind of to be expected. I find that these updates now for PUBG, they seem to be a little tougher on the zones and their positioning these days, just away in the commonality of more difficult zones that I seem to be casting these days. But it was really good rotations, as we have to admit here, by AMZ Lions. They made their way from the Paradise Resort across the Northern Bridge down to where Institute were, finished off Institute, and from there they were able to pick up the rest of their kills, as you mentioned, in that final zone. They were realistically gifted as it moved towards that coastline against the river, moving up further north. With the rest of these teams, though, it will be ZPX on 4th position with 2 kills. It will be 5th with Incognito, 4 kills. 6th position, Xeno. Xeno Mortals here with 0 kills. 7th will be Only the Best with actually 10 kills themselves. So Only the Best, even though 7th position, did quite well on the kill side of things. Empire of Lithuania in 8th position with 2, 4, 6, 7, 8 kills as well. 9th position will be Penetrate Misfits and with 1 kill. 10th position Penetrate Institute with 0 kills. 11th position AMZ Seals. 12th will be Sphinx. 13th will be Xeno Royals, and 14th position will be Vene Vidi Vici.
Such a good game to watch, and it's always hard when it close towards the Northwest Island. You have to make a guess, make a bet, and but yeah, it is what it is, right? And you will learn as we go, and hopefully you learned something here tonight, our lovely audience, and for all these players who will come back and watch this VOD and stream. And so yeah, I think it's been a good night, and thank you so much for those who have tuned in. It's my first official stream. Hopefully I didn't disappoint all of you. I do try my best after getting a message right from Divya saying maybe like we may need you, okay, and I just say consider it done, and I put my work in, and hopefully I can be the part of, okay, your enjoyable Sunday night by streaming this alongside the very lovely Highland, with very experienced, very good co-caster here. And anything else to say before I say my final words of the night?
No worries. I mean, only other thing is obviously to check out this amazing guy on Twitter. Over Professor Tarzan. Definitely good to give him a follow, guys, because he's done pretty well for his first stream, if I have to say so myself. Some really good analysis pointers in there. I'm proud of you, man.
Thank you so much. That means a lot. And yeah, I have not done anything to my Twitter, by the way. Not like a big fan. I don't even know like when's the last time that I've used it. But surely everything has to start, and may that be tonight, especially with the stream, and I'll keep creating different sort of content. If you like what we do, please like and subscribe, and I will just continue to see like what I can provide. And whatever you want to watch, feel free to just DM me over Discord. I've got the Discord server of our Penetrate clan as well in the descriptions, and feel free just to comment down below. And yep, that will be me, and such a pleasure. And once again, I'm your host tonight, Professor Tarzan, and also Highland Wolf. We are looking forward to see you again next week. Have a wonderful night and a great week ahead.